The tsunami from a massive 8.9 earthquake off the coast of Japan has reached the west coast and the Bay Area after doing this kind of damage in Japan. Just devastating. The deadly tsunami there killed hundreds of people as it washed away homes, cars, and ships and triggered widespread fires.
The tsunami surge here in California is causing continuing problems in the harbors, including Santa Cruz. Boats were torn loose, and there is no way to recover them until the surge stops. The water is moving just too fast.
People near the coast in Half Moon Bay took the warning to get to higher ground seriously. Many drove up Highway 92, and that mass exodus and trying to get on higher ground created a traffic backup that looked like a parking lot on Skyline and Cañada.
We want to show you some live pictures right now from Sky 7 HD over Santa Cruz, where you can see it appears to be calm at this moment, but there is extensive damage to a number of boats there and some of the docks as well.
Yeah, we have the latest developments right now in our team coverage to the Bay Area's response to Japan. Let's begin with ABC 7's Karina Rusk live in Santa Cruz. Karina?
Well, there are several road closures around this area, Kristen. Also, the wharf and the beach boardwalk behind me are closed, and the damage is mounting. Take a look at this dramatic video from Sky 7. We have had several tsunami surges come into the Santa Cruz Yacht Harbor. The first shortly before 8 o'clock this morning, and the damage, as you can see, is pretty significant. At least 5 boats have sunk. Other boats are loose. Many are banging into one another, or they're being damaged as they are slammed into the dock by these tide changes. Pieces of pilings are floating in the water and being sucked out to sea. A lot of this damage right now, just property damage. Fortunately, no injuries to report. People have flocked to Cal State Beach, where the tsunami tide activity was especially dramatic.
It just sucked way out like a super low tide over the course of about 5 minutes, and it's doing it again right now. This is the third one. Could be the big one.
This is the second time I've seen a tsunami here in Santa Cruz. When I was 13 years old, I saw the one in 1964, and it did exactly the same thing. The water retreated first.
It was unbelievable to watch the sand shift. The mile buoy that's normally in one position is completely out of position right now.
When they come into the shallow water here, all of that energy that's moving the whole depth of the ocean gets piled up into shallower water. So we see that the waveforms shorten and actually get taller.
So despite warnings and the possibility of more tsunami surge activity, there are surfers in the water here at Cal Beach. After all, this is Santa Cruz, and they are taking advantage of this perhaps once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ride a tsunami surf. And that's the situation here in Santa Cruz. Karina Rusk, ABC 7 News.
Now, Terry McSweeney continues our coverage with more on the way officials and residents in Pacifica and San Mateo County responded. Terry?
Yeah, just talking to police a couple of minutes ago, and they say that please stay off the beach, and if you don't live down here near the beach, don't come down here to check things out. Over the course of the morning, there have been a number of advisories.
Stay at their homes at this time. If you are on foot in this area, please leave immediately.
Police went through the neighborhood near the Pacifica Pier about 7:30 or so, warning people to get away from the beach and residents to stay inside. Now, that was before the first wave arrived. Another warning went out at 3:30 this morning, a reverse 911 call to 2,800 people in low-lying areas, advising those people to go to one of 5 emergency shelters. Just an advisory. Was a student at Oceana High School. Thought dozens of people would be evacuating. With classes canceled, he came to the beach to help out.
I actually heard about the evacuation call, so as soon as I heard that, it didn't really matter what kind of wave was going to hit. It's just that it just mattered that if some people got out here safe. So I was just making rounds trying to get people out of here.
Ironically, Irwin School is Oceana High, one of the evacuation centers. We were up there about an hour and a half ago or so. Just a few people turned out up there, not too many. Now, around 4 o'clock this morning, there were people, or police, I should say, gathering up there at Oceana from all over San Mateo County. Pacifica, of course, and also San Bruno, Hillsborough, and a number of other cities ready to go through the neighborhoods with their loudspeakers telling people to evacuate, but that did not become necessary, and as of right now, evacuations are absolutely voluntary. Live at Pacifica, Terry McSweeney, ABC 7 News.
All right, Terry, thanks a lot. We're just getting word that a magnitude 6.6 quake has hit central Japan, causing buildings there to sway. And that's coming out of Japan. Could be one of the many aftershocks. They've had several hundred, and many of them in that pretty big range between 4.5 and 6.6. All right, let's bring you back here locally. Many people in Half Moon Bay are evacuated from their homes today. Many are still out, have been all morning. Several dozen cars lined up at a Chevron station on Main Street to fill up before leaving. Residents say they have received warnings before, but seeing those destructive pictures from Japan encouraged them to pack up.
We had a warning a year ago, and I think most of us ignored it exactly almost a year ago. So this time, everybody's seen what's going on in Japan. It's pretty serious. It's extremely sad. So we're trying to take more precaution and heading out.
An RV park at Pillar Point near Half Moon Bay was also evacuated. The park sits right on the coast near the city of Princeton by the Sea, where San Mateo County Harbor officials have asked people to go to higher ground.
Lady in the front came and knocked on our door and said that there was an earthquake in Japan and they might be expecting this in around 8 o'clock.
So what are you guys doing?
We're getting out, going back to Manteca.
And this is a time lapse of the surge in Half Moon Bay over the last few hours. Let's take a look as the water starts to come in and then rushing back out. You can see the water levels rising. At first it appears subtle, but clearly significant over the course of a few hours. The water completely coming up to the rocks and then, of course, running back out. 2 confirmed surges so far, the second one being bigger.
All right, we want to head out to San Francisco's Ocean Beach with Amy Hollyfield, who has been watching the situation there. Amy, what's going on?
Cheryl, no big surge here, but the Great Highway and Ocean Beach is still officially closed. Police and local officials are having a conference call right now discussing what to do next. They may still be feeling skittish, but many people are not. Look at all of the people who are here riding their bikes. Some have even now made it all the way out to the water. They are ignoring the fact that the beach is closed and decided the threat is over, and they are headed out there to see the water. So here's an example. We've been talking to people. Here's an example of how they feel about the threat out here.
Sounds like most people here weren't too terribly concerned about it, and it seems really like the only threat is from people swimming or being in the ocean itself, not really on land. So we figured we were okay coming here.
But during the overnight hours, police had no idea what to expect or how large the tsunami would be, so they prepared for a possible surge and shut down the beach and the Great Highway around 4:15 this morning. And then they patrolled the area all morning looking for people who weren't aware of the warning. They told pedestrians that they were here at their own risk. They didn't evacuate residents, though, but some were ready to go.
I've been up since 1:45 a.m. when my cousin called on the top of the hill in Daly City. So we have our bags packed, but I don't think anything big will happen. Better safe than sorry.
Luggage was packed and loaded in the car. She headed for higher ground. But about 8 o'clock this morning, you could tell people started feeling a little more confident that we weren't going to see anything major here at Ocean Beach. That's when we started noticing the joggers really coming out and the dog walkers, and they started just continuing life as usual. The Great Highway, though, is still closed right now, but police are on the phone with local officials trying to figure out when to open up this highway. Live in San Francisco, Amy Hollyfield, ABC 7 News.